looks like TdA strikes again in Aurora, Colorado. An attempted home invasion at an apartment complex happens. Let's check it out. Pretty scary stuff.
Back here at home, Ainsley?
Yeah, so TdA, we've talked about them. They really were on the map because of all the immigration problems through Joe Biden. And we've talked a lot over the last year about that apartment complex in Aurora. And it looks like, according to police records, they are back. This is some video of 9 suspected TdA gang members that just unleashed chaos in Colorado. It's chilling doorbell video because they were knocking on neighbors' doors, apartment complex doors again, and no telling what they would have done if people had opened their doors. The police chief.
Imagine seeing that at your door. That is horrifying, terrifying stuff.
There, he said they weren't bringing coffee cakes, they weren't bringing welcoming trays, they brought guns. Listen.
Based upon everything that I stated here, based upon the involvement, the actions, the behaviors, the demeanor, there is without question gang involvement in this. And again, we are going to hold those individuals accountable. So
will we see protests here? Like, are y'all going to block ICE and the federal agents that want to arrest these bad guys? Are y'all going to link arms with them when they try to take them into custody? They are on the wrong side of this. And, Brian, it just reminds me of that major moment when J.D. Vance is on ABC, and he was told it was just a few apartment complexes.
President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris?
Just a few complexes. But look, before we finish this, I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody out there who is blaming Trump for the problems we're seeing again rise in Colorado at this apartment complex. Actually, somebody did. One of the comments there said, "Trump's America." Can you believe this nonsense? I guarantee there's somebody else out there who is some liberal who's upset that Trump hasn't deported them yet. He should be doing his job. They should have been deported already. Give me a break.
Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said. I want to move on to
just a few apartment complexes, no big deal.
A few apartment complexes that the mayor did not seem was invading the entire city.
I want to move on. She says. Of course she does.
The T-shirt was, "Can you listen? Do you listen to yourself?" Right. You listen to yourself. This is so unbelievable. Number one, if the mayor doesn't have a problem with that, he should resign immediately. Right. And the
Real quick, stay tuned because I'm going to play a video about a murderer from El Salvador who was allowed to stay in the country. Joe Biden allowed him to stay in the country because he was fearing for his safety.
Governor to deny and think that Donald Trump's the problem, you have no business in that position, Governor Polis. And now that they're back, TdA, this is what the president's already made clear when he said in L.A., you can't control those riots. I'm sending in, and I'm, by the way, posting. Now he says, you have a problem in Chicago? I'm going to send there. Now, Mr. President, if he's watching right now, you still got the same problem, but now you're president.
Yeah, and imagine,
so if this mayor and these police people won't take it, that you sent the National Guard in right there.
Imagine living in this building. Police, since just last August, have responded to 44 calls for service at that complex related to 12 separate incidents, including threats that were made to the tenants, shots being fired, and squatting.
So y'all remember the last time Tom Homan went there? He went there with 200 federal agents, and the activists on the ground tipped the gangsters off, and they evaded arrest. So they got to go back in, and no one should know they're going in.
The Aurora City Council member said this. Gosh, once again, if someone would have just listened to me, it's not an isolated incident, not just poor-friendly migrants that I was picking on. Certainly not a feature of my imagination. No, sir. You did the right thing, and now we have the right president to handle it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian.
Crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Now, in another news report, apparently the conflict, the unit that they were targeting was somebody who moved from Venezuela. So it looks like they're going after their own. I mean, out of the way, this shouldn't be happening. So I know that other people who come here into the country illegally are targets by these gangs because they know that there's a good chance that they will fear calling the police, calling authorities because they fear deportation themselves. But I've also heard a report that they do report crimes. So, but I think that's a perception of these gangs that they're worried that the people are not going to talk because they don't want to get deported themselves. But check this out from ICE Denver. Before we get to that video I want to show you. This morning, ICE, FBI Denver were attempting to arrest Jose Reyes Leon Deraz, a criminal alien from El Salvador who is convicted of and wanted for child rape in Italy. During our surveillance of Leon, members of Colorado Rapid Response arrived on the scene and alerted him to law enforcement presence, which allowed him to escape arrest. Groups like this interfere with ICE's ability to keep community safe. If you know his whereabouts, do not approach. If seen, instead report all info to ICE, a 1-866-347-2423. Crazy stuff. Wow. So he was wanted for murder in Italy, and now he's here in the U.S. Where is he? These morons tipped him off. This is the kind of stuff that's putting people's lives in danger. And I have something else to show you that also puts people's lives in danger. Joe Biden, check this out.
Here's correspondent Bill Malugin reporting from Los Angeles.
That's our car.
All right. Only Fox News was with ICE in Los Angeles as they moved in to take down a high-priority aggravated felon.
Got him.
His name is Alexander Palacios Guevara, and DHS says he's a Salvadoran illegal alien and Sureños gang member with convictions in LA County for murder and attempted murder.
I have an immigration lawyer.
Guevara has had a deportation order since February 2024 and had been living freely in Los Angeles County, a sanctuary jurisdiction. Now that this convicted murderer is in federal custody, he's coming here to this ICE facility where he's going to be booked. They're going to take his fingerprints, take his biometrics. He'll be placed in a cell. But as we were reporting on what would happen next with Guevara, he interrupted us to repeatedly say he shouldn't be deported because he has a special form of relief called CAT. ICE says you have a deportation order since February 2024, sir.
No, I just got CAT on December the 18th. Of last year by the BIA. You can call my lawyer.
It turns out his claim is true. ICE wasn't aware at the time of his arrest, but in the final days of the Biden administration on December 18th, the BIA, or Board of Immigration Appeals under the Biden Justice Department, granted Guevara a relief known as DCAT, meaning deferred removal under the Convention Against Torture. It means Guevara can't be deported to El Salvador because he fears being killed or tortured. Are you a convicted murderer, sir?
I am free.
Are you a convicted murderer? And Brett, we learned that ICE had to briefly release this man from their custody. Then they quickly rearrested him the very next day. He remains in their custody now. ICE sent a statement to Fox News about this, saying that this criminal alien should have never been roaming the streets of Los Angeles in the first place. They went on to say that this Biden-era decision to protect him from deportation to his home country is, quote, highly unusual. ICE tells us this guy's going to stay in their custody right now while they try to find another country they can deport him to other than El Salvador. We did reach out to his immigration attorney multiple times over the last couple of days, asking specifically, who is this guy afraid of? Who does he think is going to torture him? But that attorney never responded to us. Brett?
That was an amazing story. Bill Maluchin in Los Angeles. Bill, thank you.
Man, crazy stuff, man. See, how many people like this guy are in the country? How many like him did Biden allow to stay in the country? Because this convicted murderer is afraid of being murdered in his home country, so they let him stay here. But thank goodness ICE went and rearrested this guy. Thought I'd share that with because it's a crazy story. So yeah. Whew, goodness gracious. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Take care.